Peace, it's Equality Fragrances coming to you from Prince George's County, Maryland. Welcome to my cipher. A cipher is a person, place, a thing within my circumference to understanding. Now, my cipher is peace. For all those new to the channel and those who have been supporting the channel since day one, I humbly appreciate all your support. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell so you'll be notified when I drop some new videos. All of that goes a long way in helping the channel grow and it costs you nothing to do. If you have any questions, don't forget to follow me on IG. A link will be in the description. I'll reply to all inbox messages regardless of really what the question is. With that being said, come on in, sit down, and let's build. So not too long ago, somebody hit me in my inbox and they was like, hey, you know, I live in a major metropolitan region and I tend to go to a lot of formal events where I have to be dressed up and sometimes more than less in a tuxedo. I said, man, I got you, because living in the Washington, D.C. area, this is an event town. And of course, any major metropolitan region where you're going somewhere where you're going to be suited up, even if it's something as small as a wedding or some ballroom dancing, he wanted 10 fragrances within the summertime that I would wear. Because I'm going to be honest, some fragrances that I would wear in the summer might not necessarily be the same fragrances I would reach for in the fall or winter. I change up that way based on the environment, where I'm going and what I'm doing. So I'm going to give you 10 extremely sexy, alluring, and complimented fragrances that I would wear to a black tie event. Let's start the show. Keep in mind, none of these fragrances are in any particular order. As I explained before on how I choose my fragrances, it comes down to mood, where I'm going, what am I doing when I get there, and what is my overall desired outcome. Do I want compliments? Am I on a date? So I kind of just want my date to focus on me. Do I want a lot of people to focus on me? Do I want attention? Do I want to move the crowd? These are all different reasons why I would choose any fragrance. So 10 could be one could be 10. All of them are good, okay? So coming in number 10 is Orion from Tiziana Terenzi. Now this fragrance right here uses the Creed Aventus DNA. Extremely mature though. This fragrance is so mature that it makes Creed Aventus seem rather juvenile. Think of a really smoky batch of Aventus. Of course, you have that juicy pineapple, you have apple, you have some pink pepper to give it a little bit of zing. But what you really get is a lot of birch, It's a little smoky and leathery. You also get that nice patchouli note that they also use in Ursa. You get some wearable oud that's not overly animalic. It's just really just dense and woody. You get some cedarwood, some musk, and some amber. This is a absolute banger of a fragrance. This is like, if I'm gonna wear Creed Aventus when I'm going to a bar or to a club or something like that, I'll wear this when I'm dressed up or going to work or where I really want to have a sense of elegance about me. And that's Tiziana Terenzi Orion. Next up on the list is a highly sexy and seductive fragrance. This is great, and I mean great for date night. It's extremely romantic. So if you're going to a black tie event or a formal like ballroom dancing with your lady, this would be a great fragrance to reach for. This is coming from the house of Montale, and this is Starry Nights. I know everybody loves Rose Oud fragrances. It's been highly popular for the last 5 so much years. Everybody has their rendition of a Rose Oud fragrance. I understand it. It's a good combination. But to me, the king of the rose combinations tend to be rose patchouli. For me, I just love rose patchouli fragrances. I cannot get enough of them. This is absolutely that. The essence of what this fragrance is a nice fruity rose, which comes from the top fruits in rose that you're going to get. I believe it's bergamot, lemon, and apple along with the rose. You get this nice woody patchouli, powdery sensual musk with an ambery base. It's fairly linear. It really doesn't transition that much. Besides like the citruses coming down a little bit, but other than that, this is an outstanding fragrance. If people were gonna ask me, I want to get into the house of Montale, which 3 fragrances would I get? I would always recommend Honey Oud, I would recommend Intense Cafe, and I would recommend this. You can't go wrong. That's Starry Nights. Next up on the list, is an extremely opulent fragrance. This is regal, royal, and smells of luxury. This is the kind of fragrance as a man that I would wear if I was even going on a date, or I would wear if I was going to a black tie event by myself and I was looking to get an afternoon date. Amazing fragrance. This is from the house of Abdul Samad Al-Qurashi, and this is Sapphire Extreme. Oh man. How to describe this fragrance, because the notes really don't do it justice. Beautiful bouquet of florals, sweet florals. It's a little fruity. Maybe some raspberry might be in there, but it has a fruity nuance to it, which isn't listed in the notes. It's woody and it's suede like leather, but that leather is so smooth, and that's because of the vanillic aspect that joins in with all of that. This one, I'm telling you, will bang out. When I really want to somewhat be a showstopper, but I don't want to be doing too much, this is one I would reach for. And that's from the house of Abdul Samad Al-Qurashi, and this is Sapphire Extreme. Next up on the list is a fragrance that is absolutely regal. There's something about this composition that exudes confidence and power. Somebody asked me to do a like my top 10 confidence building fragrances. This is one that would definitely be on it. It leans masculine. There's nothing overly sweet about this. It's still unisex. A woman can wear whatever she want to wear, but it leans masculine. This is a fragrance that, you know, you're going to a formal event, maybe like if you work in corporate, and this is going to be some CEOs going to be around and some bosses, and you trying to get a promotion and you want to smell good, you're dressed up, you're fancy, but you also you brought your beautiful lady with you to the meeting. This is one I would wear. And this is Royal Oud. Wedding certified. You going to a wedding? Boom. This is just going to work. It's powerful without being overbearing. I have some overbearing fragrances that could just dominate a room. This isn't one of them. It's just enough to get the job done. You have some citruses and that pink pepper up top. The woodiness that dominates this fragrance for me is the cedar wood, not the oud. I'm not saying oud isn't in here, but it's the cedar wood. It's clean, it's musky, also has smoothed out sandalwood. If you don't have it or a sample of it, you should get it. It's that good. It's rather expensive, but it's good. And that's Royal Oud. Next up is a fragrance that is rarely talked about. I don't think no one's did a review on this fragrance. This fragrance is a 2020 pickup for me. I think I talked about it once, but if not, it deserves a full review. This fragrance is opulent and voluptuous. That's how I would describe it. Now, I told you that when I pick these fragrances on mood, where I'm going, what I'm doing, and desired outcome. This is a fragrance you wear when you go into this formal event and you with your lady looking beautiful in her gown. You are almost wearing this to compliment her. She is the prize. You are the accessory. There's a time and place for that. You can still be alpha and be an accessory. Don't confuse the two. This is a fragrance that's marketed to women, but to me, it's unisex right down the middle. It has masculine tendencies and feminine tendencies in it. This is from the house of Gabor. This is Darling. I'm gonna try to make it quick. This is sandalwood from beginning to end. Creamy, smooth sandalwood. In the opening, you get slightly boozy. You get this cherry cognac, some dried fruit, some florals. As it transitions, it starts, you still keep that sandalwood, but you start getting this gourmand nature to it. You get this almond powder. It makes it a little powdery. You get tonka, vanilla, praline, gives it a gourmand edge to it with some florals. As it starts to transition later on in the dry down, it becomes a little leathery with the labdanum and suede. You have ambergris, a absolute beautiful fragrance. I'm not going to go too much into it because this is an overview, not a full review. But this is one to sample. You should sample first, too expensive. But check it out. This is from the house of Gabor, and that's Darling. Next up is a fragrance that really needs no introduction. I've talked about it a few times. This is a absolutely beautiful and gorgeous fragrance. If you're going on a date, this is wedding approved. If I'm going to like somewhere where it's going to be like partying, dressed up formal partying like the CBC or something in nature, I don't know if I would necessarily reach for this. But if I'm going on to a date, if I'm going to an award ceremony where it has to be formal, if I'm going to a formal dinner, I would absolutely reach for this fragrance. It is that good. It's my favorite sandalwood fragrance within my collection. At least top two or top three. And this is Xerjoff Richwood. Again, it uses that rose patchouli combination, ambery base. But what really makes this fragrance to me, outside of the rose patchouli sandalwood, because that combination is just good, what really gives it its sexiness to me is the musk. I'm gonna call it Chanel musk. Chanel uses this type of bright, sensual musk in a lot of their fragrances that I love. Cœur de Russie, I love it. Le Lion or Le Lion, I love it. And Coromandel. This has been considered very close to Coromandel, but to me, the sandalwood kind of what takes this in two separate directions. But if I didn't have this, Coromandel would have probably been on the list, but this one right here, Xerjoff Richwood. Do this need any introduction? No, I don't really think it do. I'm not going to draw this out. We're going to call this the Cuba. You already know what it is. You cannot say formal fragrance and not mention this fragrance. Everybody, say it with me. YSL Tuxedo. What more can I say? Not only is it one of the best date night fragrances, it's one of the best formal fragrances, dressed up fragrance. You can kind of dress this down as well. Again, the sexiness is that rose patchouli combination. It's almost boozy, but not overly boozy, in that ambery, silky, light base in the bottom. It's a little spicy and peppery with the black pepper and coriander. If you don't have it, or a clone of it, or, you know, this is one, just the essence of what this fragrance is sexy. It just is. I don't care what you're doing. You can grab this. This is you're going to a formal event, you're going to be wearing a suit or a tuxedo, and you want an intelligent reach fragrance. You don't really want to think about it, and you just be like, I just want to grab it. Grab this. You can't go wrong. That's YSL Tuxedo. Next up on the list is a fragrance. If you've been watching me all of this year, even if you're a new subscriber, you probably already know this fragrance should be on the list. This fragrance is going to be on a lot of lists. It just is what it is. It's that good. This fragrance is powerful and sexy. This is assertive, an assertive fragrance. This fragrance is the best leather fragrance on the market. Don't ask me questions. Don't what about me. I'm telling you, it's the best leather fragrance on the market. This is coming from the house of Armani Prive. This is Cuir Majeste. Man. That leather is so smooth. It's like the inside of a Lamborghini Aventador with Alcantara all over it. This is McLaren 720S kind of leather. Oh my God, man. It's more than just a rose oud fragrance. It's rose oud leather. It's fruity, slightly smoky, ambroxan and woody. This is everything, man. Everything. If you out with the guys and you looking to, you know, find something strange, wear this. Wear this. Trust me on this. Wear this. And that's Armani Prive Cuir Majeste. Next up is a fragrance I've also discussed quite some time. This fragrance, when I think of terms like romance or romantic, florals come to mind. Men, please, I beg of you, especially my super alpha masculine men, just really hard, try rose fragrances. The way it will balance your energy, it will make you more approachable, it will work. Nevertheless, this is probably the best, one of the best, to me it's the best photorealistic rose fragrances I have ever put my nose on. It's expensive, but it's well worth the price of admission for me. This is from the house of Louis Vuitton, and that is Les Sables Roses. Now, this is taking nothing away from Ombre Nomad. Ombre Nomad is extremely sexy, but it's a dense fragrance. I'm not wearing that in the dead heat of summer. I will wear this at a daytime formal event. I'll put this on. Nighttime, breeze, a little cool, I'll put this on. Wintertime, I will put this on. This is romance in a bottle. A beautiful, fruity, pinkish, just blooming rose. It's a little wet, and I believe that's coming from the ambergris in here. It adds a bit of like wateriness to the composition. Spicy, I believe pepper, and you got saffron in here. Les Sables Roses, one of the most romantic fragrances you will ever put on skin. Last but not least is my favorite fragrance of all time. Listen up. Favorite does not mean the best fragrance I have ever smelt or the best fragrance of all time. It is my favorite. Somebody's gonna come here and say, I think this fragrance is better than this fragrance from the house. That's okay. It can be better. This is my favorite. We got that? Check. This is the true blue beast of frag home. This is coming from the house of Boadicea the Victorious. This is Blue Sapphire. If I'm doing a formal list in the spring, autumn, winter, summer, this will make that list. This is literally a 4 spray maximum. Excuse me. And if you're doing 4 sprays, you're pretty much almost considered a maniac. You should really be about 3 sprays. It's gonna stay on your skin all day long. If I put this on my wrist, because I want to experience the opening, it's stuck on my wrist all day. I really can't wash it off. If you put it on clothing, it will be there for weeks. Beautiful, gorgeous rose oud fragrance with a lot of other nuances going on. It's a nice woody ambery base, and the dry down is just so inviting and warm and comforting to me. That candied lemon is a little green, little herbal. Great fragrance. I'm gonna do a full review on this fragrance, or I might do a semi-review with great alternatives for this fragrance. So I'll talk more in depth about it. But that's coming from the house of Boadicea Victorious. That's Blue Sapphire. Oh, those were my top 10 sexy complimented formal fragrances for the summer of 2021. If y'all want me to keep this series going, like in the fall and winter, just let me know. I'll put something together, because some of these could change out depending on the seasons. It could change out depending on seasons and where I'm going and what my mood is. But just know some fragrances will always be on there, like Les Sables Roses, Blue Sapphire, and Tuxedo will always be on any kind of list like this. Thank you all for watching and taking the time out your day. Please don't forget to hit the like for me. I truly appreciate it. And I'm going to leave you the way I greeted you. And that's in universal language of peace.